has to go. That prejudice does not belong in the movement. Our collective energy should go towards fighting the system and not demeaning each other. We can agree on lots of things and disagree on others, but we must always be respectful, and we can clarify and be honest about our differences with each other. We can mutually accept middle ground, and if we can't, can we take majority rule and still respect minority opinions? We shouldn't try to silence each other. Mechanisms like minority reports, an open mic, and a commitment to political inclusiveness on the left are ways that can help us. Whether socialists, liberals, anarchists, we build support to do away with the two-party system. We can come together if we focus on basic agreements, such as the ones I mentioned earlier. How about challenging unfair ballot access, or again what Linda mentioned, or rigged elections? They're doing this in Greece. Let's do it here. Today is a great start. Thank you.
I think back in that corner, if you don't mind standing, that'd be great.
My name, can I sit down too?
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Why you screw yourself over?
I'll speak forward. My name is Jody Grace, and I'm with the Green Party of the United States in Washington State and Seattle. When I thought about what we agree on, one of the things that came to mind first was election reform. The system, first of all, there's 51 different systems, so it's not easy to do anything with it. The Green Party, so far, is on 34 ballot lines and will get at least to 40, if not more. But it takes an enormous amount of work and organization. So ballot access is one issue that I would complain about the fact that we have to get 1,000 signatures here, but in Georgia they have to get 85,000. So it's a little hard to get too upset. The Green Party, what we were asked also to say what we're doing. So I want you to know that the Green Party is on 34 ballot lines right now, and we'll be getting more. The other thing that we have done this year is get federal matching funds, which is a huge step. And I regard these things as steps for all the parties, because by us getting these things done, it paves the way for other parties to do also, because it does become possible. If we get 5% of the total popular vote, we will get matching funds in 2016 from the get-go. This year, we had to go through a process of getting $5,000 in contributions. Only the first $250 counted from 20 states, but we did. So election reform, I think, is something we can agree on. The restrictions that are put on minor parties, which are tremendous in some places and bad enough in others. The whole idea of getting some kind of ranked choice voting, single transferable voting, so people can grade their votes, who they want most, do second and third, is a good idea. The top two primary, there was an article in the Ballot Access News that 2 states, California and Washington, have record lows for how many people voted in the primaries. The top 2 primary was sold as this would give an open playing field, etc., but fewer people vote, which means that only 2 people get into the general election when more people vote. So there are some legal actions going on in places against that. Another thing that has happened this year for the Green Party that I think bodes well for third parties as a whole is we are getting a tremendous amount of media coverage. Our presidential candidate, Jill Stein, has been in the New York Times and the Washington Post, on NPR several times, Reuters, Amy Goodman's program, several continually now. So I think the more that we can break into the media and get some attention for the fact that there are more than 2 parties, the better it is for all of us. And I also do feel that it's easier to do something once it's been done. So, A couple things that I wanted to stress is the contributions of minor parties, which I have on this ratty little thing I carry around in my wallet. These are things that minor parties championed, and they became so popular that the major parties had to take them on and get them passed. The abolition of slavery, women's right to vote, Social Security, unemployment insurance, workers' compensation, the Pure Food and Drug Act, ending child labor, the direct election of U.S. senators. That's just a few. Now, these parties never got anyone elected to president, but their programs became so popular that they were taken up. The Green Party was recognized by the FEC in 2001. That's been working on it since the mid-'80s. We're a federation of state parties, and we have state parties in 44 states. We're part of the Global Green Network, and we take no corporate money. So I have some Green Party United States newsletters back there, some Jill Stein bumper stickers, and something else. Oh, and some Green Party Washington State brochures. But I do think we're working on this together, and we can capitalize on what each other managed to accomplish.
My name is Travis C. A lot of you already know me from various things. I belong to no party. I am a member of my community. I live just a short way from here. Not quite in this neighborhood, but the next neighborhood over. I'm a community member and activist. I grew up incredibly poor, not far away from here, just across the Sound. I grew up very tied to the military-industrial complex in my town, the Puget Sound Naval Shipyard. I just turned 30 years old, and just over 30 years ago, both Democratic parties and the Republican parties began to dismantle all the things that we once found great about this country. The things that, like some of the other speakers have all mentioned, many victories that were fought and actually died for, and though they may not have gotten presidents or senators, they won major victories. And I just want to point out, I didn't come here to tell people not to vote. I mean, yes, I came here to representing the no vote, the absence of vote, the abolition of voting perhaps, but that's not actually what I want to communicate. What I want to communicate is that we should be emphasizing communities over politics. I think, in my opinion, any 1,000 hands working in our community and doing positive things every day is infinitely more valuable than any 1,000 votes. If I had 1,000 people, 1,000 of us could do more work in our communities than any one president ever, at any time ever. And we don't have that, obviously. We have small communities doing work in small places all over, but we're far from united. I also want to say that I agree, once again, like I said before, I feel like we all agree, and even I agree with most of you on 90% of the issues. We desperately need help. The people the whole rainbow of Americans needs help here. The whole 99% needs help. And what I came here to express and to warn against is putting our faith in politics, putting our whole faith in politics, putting both hands in politics, both feet even. I find it incredibly, I have to stress how important it is, and I think history will agree with me, and the speaker before me, I'm sorry, I forgot, Jody, pointed out some very great things that political parties, essentially communities that are standing up together, have been able to achieve without getting anybody elected. They may have tried to get someone elected, but it was ultimately the strength of their ideas and their commitment to these ideas that changed our country for the better. And I think that politics is good. Our system is broken fundamentally. I think it needs to be fixed. I think that I don't think there's one political answer. I don't think there's one political system that is going to work for all of us. I think that maybe a flourishing of many different political systems might be the future for us. As I like to say, we're no longer a binary society, we're a quantum society. We can be 1, we can be 0, we can be both 1 and 0 at the same time. There's no reason that we have to have these false dichotomies, this idea that we are either on or off, that we have this or that it's us versus them. It's just us. It's just us. We're just Americans. We're just people on a planet. I mean, the sooner we build strong communities, the sooner we can make actual changes in our communities. And there's many strong communities out there now. But I think we could be stronger. I think that we could, on a practical level, not a political level, I think that we could come together in the streets and do more positive work, or just as positive work as you will, if you will, than any president or any congressman anywhere. I think that if enough of us stand shoulder to shoulder in the streets and make our demands, there's no politician anywhere that can deny that, no matter what our ideas are. And we have great ideas. We have excellent ideas. So I'm just going to finish and say that it's not about voting or not voting. It's about the idea of voting and then saying, my job is done. I've made my vote, and now I can walk away and go home to my job and kids. Unfortunately, as painful as it is to hear, there's more work to be done than that. More work to be done than voting. And that's all.
I see 3 hands just popped up so quick. I'm going to try to alternate between here and here, and we're going to go 3 at a time.
Was Jeffrey going to be one of the speakers?
I'm going to have him go at the end, since it's a little bit of a different topic.
Okay.
So I've got 1, 2, 3. So go ahead.
Hold on.
Yep.
I'm going to come over here so I can see everybody. I'm Jane Cutter, and I'm the Washington State Chair for the Party for Socialism and Liberation, which will be appearing on the Washington State ballot with Peta Lindsay and Giadio Saudio running for president and vice president. And we're running in order to say, really, that elections are a sham and they don't change anything. And that's why we're running. Why don't they change anything? Because we live in a system, and changing the head at the top of the system won't change the system. And we believe that change comes from us, from the people struggling together to make real change, like many people have said. And I think that's something that we can all agree on. So we're running in order to spread the idea, really, of revolution, of revolutionary change, and to draw people's attention to how we're going to really make change, and to a program of revolutionary change. And we've tried, as best we can, to distill that down to a 10-point program, which I will not read to you right now. You can see it here and on our other literature. And I think there's probably a lot of things in there that you would agree with. Our candidates are young people, they're activists. Peta Lindsay is a young African-American woman. Giadio Saudio is from Colombia. He was originally undocumented, although he is now a U.S. citizen. So, we're running people who, by the Constitution, couldn't become president or vice president. And we say that the restrictions on who can become president and vice president should be unconstitutional, right? These people should be able to be the president and vice president of this country if the people wanted them to be. And we hope to take, we're accused of stealing votes from the Democrats and the Republicans. We hope to steal some so-called steal votes. They weren't their votes to begin with. But, we want to shed light on the crimes that they have committed, on the crimes of this system, and point people to a revolutionary alternative and to a revolutionary program. Obviously, we think the more the merrier when it comes to alternative candidates, and that's all I got to say.
I agree with most everything that has been said, particularly feel close to what Travis said. Why am I talking? Well, I'm a political hack. I work for Republicans and I work for Democrats and I voted for them. And I don't think that will ever happen again, certainly not this time. I have endorsed your Shanna and I've endorsed your Jill, not because I don't think Rocky is very qualified. I had to pick, and I did. And I may regret that. The reason I really want to talk is about Occupy. And Occupy is not ready for the political system. Occupy people owe loans,